Blasting through the snow, turning white to red. Cry love, the wizard witch will snatch you from your bed.
What's going on, everybody? It is I, your Hellmaster, Day, back with another live stream. Yes, we did one last weekend. I think we did one before that weekend. So we've just been on a roll with these live streams, ladies and gentlemen. We've just been on a roll. And today, I'm not alone. It is the Hell Zone Hangout. We're going to have some fun tonight. And we're going to talk some horror movies, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's not going to be your normal Hell Zone Hangout because you know your Hellmaster. I like what I like, and I love to talk about what I like. And I love what you guys like. But there's this one person, this one content creator, this one paranormal investigator, this one creepy, if I had to say, confidential person that just every time kills it in the comment section with just her knowledge of movies that people don't really talk about. So I thought that, hey, let's go ahead and get the main creep, the leader of the creeps, Sup Creeps, Creepy Confidential, to join us tonight as she presents us 5 horror movies that she would like to talk about and show some love to. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Hell Cats and Hellhounds, Creepy Confidential. How the
Sup,
hell are
creep?
you?
Hi. I'm finally
I love it.
on the Hell Zone Hangout. I am so excited. I've been waiting to say Sup Creeps live here for quite some time.
I love it. Sup Creeps. I literally every time I message you, every time you comment Sup Creeps, I'm like, yes, she's here. The leader of the creeps is here. Creepy Confidential. So for the people who don't really watch the live streams or who are just meeting you or who is watching the replay, who are you? Well, like, let the people know who you are.
Absolutely. So, my name is Noelle. I am the weirdo Wisconsinite of Creepy Confidential. I do a podcast about cryptids, cults, conspiracies, and other worldly creepy. I have been a creep for a long time in my life, so this is my chance to bring out all of my creepy knowledge to the world. So, I usually do a few times a month. I post stories or talking about any of those things. You know, I like the creepier, the better.
The creepier, the better. And that's how we like it in the Hell Zone. We like it creepy. We like it hot in the Hell Zone, but we're going to get creepy tonight. And we are going to talk more about what Creepy Confidential does because I'm not going to lie. I recently watched her cannibal episode. Literally might give me fucking nightmares. Like, that was insane. That story was insane. So if you're looking for literally creepy ass stories to listen to, whether you're working or you're working out or you're at your job or if you're just around the house cleaning, Creepy Confidential is on Spotify. She's on YouTube. She's on all the audio streaming platforms, and she's
Yep.
just a great individual. So, Creepy Confidential, as we learn more about you tonight, you have 5 horror movies for us that you would love to talk about. And
Yeah.
let's just go ahead and jump straight on into it. So, again, tonight, wait, I forgot. First off, we're in the Hell Zone. So, if tonight you find yourself enjoying this stream, make sure, number 1, first and foremost, you're following Creepy Confidential. Number 2, you got to feed me those hellfire emojis. It gives me energy. It gives the stream energy. So, Creepy Confidential, what is the emoji that you would like for tonight for the Hellions to feed you?
Absolutely. I always do the upside down smiley. That's every time. When I say sub creeps, upside down smiley, because you're always a little upside down.
Hey, I love it. We are the weirdos, misters. You know what I'm saying? Shout out
Yeah,
Nancy from The Craft. All right, so
that's a
we
good
are going to get into it tonight. Creepy Confidential, what is the first movie that you would like to talk about tonight?
So now I hold on. I have to pull my list up. I know that I was ready, and then all of a sudden I wanted to make sure that I have
You're
them
totally
correct.
fine because I got to pull the scene up. So you're good.
So
Take
the
your
first
time.
one I want to talk about is the original Ghostbusters. I'm a
Ooh.
fan of of like the old school comedy, quote unquote horrors, but the '80s movies were always a little scary. So the original Ghostbusters from 1984, it had the greats. You have Dan Aykroyd, you have Bill Murray. I mean, you have Ramis, you have all of them. It's perfect. And this is the probably the very first movie I saw as a youngster. So this was from '84. I was probably a kindergartner when I saw it, and from then on out, I was addicted to ghosts and the paranormal. It is what
So,
scooped me in.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is. I'm so glad that you picked Ghostbusters. Okay, because there's a thing right now that Hollywood is doing, and they've been doing it for quite some time. And I always tell people, like, look, you have the younger generation, the Gen Xers, if you will, the millennials, right? I'm a millennial myself. I was born in
Yep.
1997, barely missed the mark. You
Yeah,
would throw this
you're
away.
on the you're on the
But when I talk to these other, fans of horror,
I'm
they
an
all they
elder
know.
millennial.
Oh, elder millennial. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that term. What's the year? What year is that?
83.
Ooh, I love that. 83. Oh, the
Yep.
80s. What a time to be
I will be
alive.
I
What
will
a
be
time.
41 in 6 days. I'm very excited.
Could not tell that, by the way. Could not tell that. That is great. You take very good care of yourself. I love that. But when I talk to these horror fans, and I'm like, hey, the greatest Ghostbusters movies are going to be the original two, right? I love the original two, but
Yep.
the more so the original. And they tend to lean towards the remakes with the new cast. And what really sells it to me for the original Ghostbusters is this was 1980. What was this? 1984.
4,
Like
the
this,
original.
and look at what they did. Like it was
Mhm.
insane. It was
Practical effects.
insane.
Yep,
Practical
absolutely.
effects and great storytelling. A lot of people say, well, it can be a slow burn and this and that. But it's the storytelling. You have to build that story.
It is not a slow burn. I disagree.
Ooh,
I
Preach said,
disagree.
I disagree with it.
Right out the
I love
gate, you are in the library, you're getting confronted with ectoplasm, apparition, gets right out the gate. No, it's
right
not a
out the
slow burn.
gate. It's not a slow burn, and the practical effects make it worth make it worthwhile itself.
Yep.
Basically, Brittany is in the building. My PIC, I love her to death. She is literally like there's a lot of parts to the hell zone. Like if you're looking at a vertebrae and all the bones, there's a lot, right? But Brittany is definitely like right there next to the frontal lobe connection to the spine. Look, I know that's not right. I didn't go to college. I didn't do
It
that.
doesn't
Sorry.
those are all important parts that you mentioned.
There you go. And basically, Brittany is basically that. And we have Ghost Dog 614 in the building. Is that one of yours, Creeps?
Yep, that's one of mine. That is
Oh,
that
what's
is
going on?
that's not just one of mine. That is mine. That is Mr. Creep.
Oh, that's Mr. Creep. Oh,
Yeah.
man. See, look, sorry about that, Mr. Creep. Look, I usually see you on YouTube in the comment section, but now you're on Instagram. We're getting meta here, brother. I love that you're here
Yep.
tonight. Love that you're here. Uh, He said, hi, Mr. Creep. Says Hell Queen Jazzy. Hell Queen Jazzy, but shout out Hell Queen Jazzy as well. She's on the way to go get 3 bar stools with my mother-in-law, and she is watching the live
That's very
stream. She's
random.
doing amazing. No, she's been going crazy this holiday season. It is insane. It is insane. But back to Ghostbusters. So, like you said, and it was an all-star cast, right? Like you said, Dan
Oh yeah.
Aykroyd, like
Huge.
uh
So this is Dan Aykroyd's baby. Like he is the one who made this script. He is the one who came up with the idea. Others, I'm sure, but the big thing is that he grew up in a family that how can we sue, like during this, like had this, that spiritualism that happened from the Edwardian era on, like that's in his family, so he was around it at some point or another, and I think it really inspired him when it came to things like that. So he really, in this movie, I think the things he's talking about, he has the most knowledge on in real life.
Wow. I did not know that. So
Mhm.
that, and to speak on that with you, like you said, this movie is one of the movies that got you into what you're basically your passion now. So can you kind of talk about like how this movie might have affected, the use of, the 90s and the 80s of, following their passion of being, a Ghostbuster. Like before it was kind of taboo, right? It was kind of scary.
Yeah,
Like you had movies like The Exorcist and all these crazy horror movies, but Ghostbusters made paranormal, hunting fun.
it was a little more obtainable, um and it was, but the thing is more factual. I know that that sounds like the exorcism, yes, that happened, but the way that they presented Reagan, all those things, that's all like, that's right, that's Hollywood. There's parts of it that
Yeah.
are true, but a
Right.
lot of it is way over the top. Like things
Right.
like Slimer, as funny as it is, that's that he, those are apparitions that really exists. The brothers that they show in the courthouse, apparitions, those are, you're more likely to see that than you are to see someone like Reagan, who's pea
Right.
soup, head spinning,
Right,
a
right,
nightmare.
like head turned backwards, like vomiting everywhere, like, and
Yeah,
it's not to say that doesn't happen in serious cases, right? Like you might see that, but in
yeah.
reality, it's mostly you're going to see an apparition walking through your hallway or coming through
Yeah,
your.
or you're going now, while, and I also enjoyed, not to geek out too much. So the ectoplasm, that really has a long history back to the age of spiritualism as well. And I love, now that I really know, because I'm such a historical nut, is that I love that he brought ectoplasm to the movie and was actually something that people could see, because in real life people were taking like toilet paper and egg whites and they were regurgitating it, and it was like, that was what was creating ectoplasm in all these pictures.
Yeah.
But there is a specimen at Cambridge College that I believe is, it looks a lot like this, that the what stuff you see dripping
Wow.
from the book, from the codex books, it's all green and goo, is
Yeah.
like, here, get a sample. um I love that. I mean, that's real. I mean,
Yeah.
with a slight Hollywood
I didn't
twist.
know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's not as thick, right?
right. But it looks very similar when you see the photo. It's very small, and but you can, it's kind of this wispy, gooey looking material, and it actually looks pretty close, I
Okay.
think.
What? Look, if I had my, if I look, I'm gonna try to pull it up because my fingers don't work as fast as they used to.
Yeah.
But to get to some of these comments real quick. Let's see. We got Wid 100 is in the building. Executive Hellhound Wid 100. Love to see you here, brother. I got your video, brother. I got yours and Brittany's video. We're gonna play it a little later on the stream, and I know you want it played, so stick around, brother. Stick around. Ghost Dog 614, aka Mr. Creep, says, I've watched Ghostbusters. I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna just say a random number: 4,737,364,338. I don't know
Because of
times
me.
now
Yeah.
since we got married. That's what he said. Since
But I love
since
it.
we got married.
Joanna says her comfort movie. That's that.
No,
That's
for
me.
sure. It's also like, to be honest, it could be a Christmas movie. Like you can watch it now.
Right. It's fantastic. But anytime
It's
I am at a low point, a high point, inspirational, I need something, I will watch the original Ghostbusters.
It's great, and it's like the first time they see that Slimer, man, it's just a blast from the past, man. That's what I
Yep.
respect to the remake, okay, but it's like you're nothing. You're not
Except
like
for the
we're
ones with
not
the
even
chicks.
talking.
The ones with the
Yeah,
chicks, you
yeah,
can throw
yeah.
that in the trash.
I
In
love it.
the garbage. All the garbages, you can chuck that in the trash.
That's why we love Creepy Confidential in the Hell Zone. She lets her mind be spoken.
I,
Hell Queen Jazzy
as the
says,
kids
I
say,
love
I keep it real.
Ghostbusters. She does. We love that. That's why my wife loves you. We all love you. We love you, Creepy. We love you, Creepy. Hell Queen Jazzy says, I love Ghostbusters and love Ernie Hudson. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
By the way, he does not age. Side note.
He doesn't. He
No.
doesn't. He really doesn't. That whole cast, like, to see where they're at all these years later. And that's why I do appreciate the remakes, because you get to see them for what it was, right? Is it a
Yeah,
cash
and
grab?
you hope that their journeys continue, and you hope that they keep doing what they do, but they have to pass the torch. You know, they're not going to be there forever, as sad as that will be. I can appreciate that.
Love that. Mr. Creep says ectoplasm equals ghost snot. Is that true?
No.
Okay. That was Hollywood.
That's what it looks like.
I love it. Let's see. Hell Queen Jazzy says my comfort movie is The Mummy or Harry Potter or Beetlejuice.
Well,
hey, look. Is this you wanna do the thing? You wanna do it?
Well, real before we move on to that one though, I do want to say is that I remember as a kid falling in love with Dan Aykroyd's character because he knew all the crazy details. Like when the books are stacked, you know, like this is from the great book stacking of 1842. And it was like he knows all of these strange book details. That is me. Like that is to this now.
Wow.
That is me. And I think, I've never got a chance to meet Dan Aykroyd, and I'm sure, he's probably all Hollywooded up. His vodka's quite delicious. But that is who I really globbed onto. So now when I'm building a paranormal class, all the examples are going to be from this movie. Most of the examples. Some of them,
I love
they don't make an example, but yeah, I'm excited.
So so with this paranormal class that you're doing, can you kind of talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So imagine how you would have like a level of college courses, 101, ghost hunting 101, 102, 103. You're going to learn basic vocabulary, things like apparition, ectoplasm, EVP. All these words that you hear them fling around on TV. You can learn that they're fact, they are real terms. The types of one of them will be the types of hauntings. You have interactive, hauntings versus one that is basically on repeat. Like it's the energy that's just created. It's kind of like a record. So I want each set, if people are interested, to learn about what we're looking for on a science part. I don't believe in the reading boards or things like that, because that's not a piece of scientific equipment. It's not. So you can't prove it. You can't prove the people. You can't prove the box, and you're opening a portal that you shouldn't mess with. So, in my mind,
right.
So those are, but just kind of learning about it and learning about how Ghostbusters is a perfect little way to teach about ghosts.
I love that, and because again, what you're doing with that class is you're taking something that we're all interested in as horror fans from a young age. Like we all watched all the paranormal shows growing up. We watched all the paranormal movies growing up, but you're looking at it from a scientific standpoint and showing the reality of what the person's dealing with.
What are you really watching? Like when you're watching Poltergeist, right? What are the things that you see? You're seeing where the spirit is stacking things. You're seeing that crazy apparition where they're pulling people through the window. You have those could be, well, and that movie is also based off a true story, true events that now you get to learn about it. So, but it's taking me a while to build it, but yeah.
I love that. No, you're creating an avenue for more horror fans to get to, who are interested in that, to really get knowledge and not just having to go and look around the internet.
And then personally, I think it's more scary that way, because now that's not fiction you're watching. it's real.
That's your reality.
And it's less of the, oh, it's an over there thing, and it's more of a like, oh my god, it's right here thing.
Yeah, it's I know what's happening. I know what's
Yeah,
happening. I love that.
I
I love that
really
creepy.
know.
So speaking of the next one, uh Mr. Creep says, what if Dan Aykroyd had played Beetlejuice? So answer that question while I pull up the next movie that you
Yeah.
want to talk about. That was also in the 80s. Let's go ahead and
Yep.
pull up
So the
Beetlejuice.
original Beetlejuice was from '88. Side note, I had a really hard time believing that the new Beetlejuice was going to be worth it, and I'll admit I was laughing the whole time. So I will confess that here on this live stream. But when he says, what if Dan Aykroyd would have played Beetlejuice? I don't think it would have stuck. I don't think it would have had the same bang for your buck. Keaton has a certain raunchy comedy about him, and I've Dan Aykroyd can do raunchy comedy. I've seen it on SNL, but it's different. Michael Keaton it was like he was born to be Beetlejuice.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
So I don't think it would have
Like
resonated the same at all.
no, and we're gonna talk about it. So Dan Aykroyd, love Dan Aykroyd. We actually we was watching the Twilight Zone movie from like the 19 don't I don't even know. It was like the early, it might have been the 70s or something, but it was a young Dan Aykroyd in the intro of the movie. It was great. But yeah, I agree with you, Creepy. Like Michael Keaton is one of those actors that is just like, it's not method acting, but when you're
No.
born to play a role, you're born to play a role, and he was born to play Beetlejuice.
And he was
No one else
given
can play.
so much freedom on this. So, like, he had, like, when V. Neal created the makeup and the hair. Side note, I absolutely love all the makeup and the horror of everything, because I've done haunted houses and things of that nature. It's a blast. So I really like knowing who does the makeup. So when she did the makeup, he had a big part in what, like, the mold and the hair and it was, I think he kind of took it as his baby and ran with it.
Oh,
He's
for
like,
sure. And and shout out to you, because you and Jazzy are just like that. She, like, when you said V Nil, I'm like, where do I know that name from? But then I'm like, oh yeah, Jazzy watched I think she was watching Ink Masters or
oh
something.
no, that there's a show where they all do. Oh my gosh, I
Oh,
can't remember.
Face Off.
Face Off. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, V. Neal was on there. And yeah, I agree. I think it's when you have a character, it's like being a character in a haunt. If you get to design it and you kind of live in it, and you're like, no, I'm gonna put a bruise here, and I'm gonna put a open wound here, and you create the story, you're able to really bring the noise when you're in front of your audience. So I think it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
And that was a big part with Beetlejuice. Like, if I agree, like, if it took two, right? You need someone as passionate as Michael Keaton, but you
Yeah.
also need a V Nil to make the character come alive, you know.
Or it just wouldn't make sense. Like,
No.
but I absolutely, like, from day one, I remember the part in the movie as a kid, because again, these movies I watched pretty young, because they're playful kind of horror comedies. But the part where he knocks the tree over and he's like, nice blanket model.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom didn't know it was in there, so she'd always wait and have to fast forward that one. We were not like a cussy house or anything like that. And
Yeah.
now I've been a sailor, so I tend to throw them out every now and then. But I remember there were pieces,
Yeah.
or when
No.
he grabs his business, right, and he says that line. But that didn't stop me. I was obsessed with the movie.
I love it. And what's also so great about it is the practical effects. Again, Tim Burton,
Again,
and the whole cast, the whole production crew. I mean, they knocked it out of this world. Like, I mean,
yeah,
from the costume designs, the set designs, the like everything. Like we're seeing some of it on screen now. Like, and this was
yeah.
the 80s, guys. Like,
I looked up and I saw so on the screen the Dante's Inferno girls. I have
Yeah.
them as a piece of art on my wall.
Oh, that's so freaking cool.
Yeah, and
Oh, that's
and
so
Mr.
cool.
Creep, not to be too show and tell, but you're in my little creepy office, so I have to show you. So I have he got this done, Buster so and so, and it's Beetlejuice on a motorcycle.
Oh
He got
wow.
that done for
That is
me.
so sick. Let me take
Yeah, isn't that
that
wild?
is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so
When I
cool.
say I'm a
I love that.
Beetlejuice fan, I'm a Beetlejuice
You
fan.
would now I know why you and Jazzy are like that. I can't
We
with
were
Jazzy.
just
I
on
like
Ghostbusters, and I have the Token Spirit Guide. I have that on my shelf, and I have another Ghostbusters book behind me.
oh, we gotta do a room tour next stream. We gotta see a room like an office tour. Gotta do it.
Yeah, well, I have my creepy confidential library that I talk about and do library books on, and because I have some old ones that one from the serial killer from Washington. I have her book, second edition, and I have one from my voodoo. Like I like to find ones that are about something, but
I'm
nobody ever has the
I'm
books I
telling you,
want.
we were talking backstage a little bit ago, and then we're gonna pull the curtains back a little bit for the audience. But we have so much planned for her to come on, for Creepy to come on stream and like do like scary
I'm a big
stories,
nerd.
paranormal stories, cryptid stories, and like just like it is going to be so much fun. So yes, stay tuned for more creepy confidential Hell Zone content. But back to Beetlejuice.
Back to Beatles.
Again, practical effects out of this world. Now do
Outstanding.
I want to hear your thoughts on this. And we'll get to your guys' comments. Well, real quick because he had a great comment, and I want to acknowledge it, and I gotta acknowledge this guy. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, he's one of my favorite hellions. He's one of my favorite hellhounds, and every time he steps into the building, we have to acknowledge him. So, with 100, I see you, brother. Everybody,
I was
stand up
wondering.
for your tribal chief with 100.
I'm gonna have to learn the story about this one.
Acknowledge me.
Wrestling.
St. Louis.
I'm gonna be there.
Acknowledge me.
Gotta love it. We acknowledge you with 100, and he
Oh
has a
my gosh.
question for the panel tonight. Creepy confidential. Would you want to see Johnny Depp play Beetlejuice?
No. No, I wouldn't. I
Ooh.
think it's either excuse me. I'm one of those like purists and I refuse. I'm also old like once I have something I like, I am one of those kids where I'm like, you cannot change it. I don't want it any other way. I'll eat the same meal 10 times, the same way. And I don't think it won't be the same. He just doesn't have the same energy. And I think he's about almost the same age right now. So it would be,
Yeah,
I don't
it'll be
agree.
kind of I and okay, Wid, you got see Wid 100 comes in with these comments, and he knows that he knows how I feel about Johnny. He knows I love me some Johnny fucking Depp. But I
I
want
do
him to play
too.
Beetlejuice. Yes, I'm sorry. I would fucking love for him to play Beetlejuice, but
Just
also at the
because he
same time,
can doesn't mean he should. I'm
that's
like,
100% right. That is 100% because
leave it alone.
that I, that is 1,000%. Just because he can and he'll be really good at it doesn't mean he should. Now, what I would like to see even more better, I would love to see Michael Keaton return with Winona Ryder, and what they should have did in the first fucking place, instead of having the husband be who he was, they should have had Johnny Depp be the husband. So that should have been a
Yeah, but
thing.
we had
So
to hate him. His whole character, her husband, you just didn't like him from
or
the
the
beginning.
fishy guy. He could have been the fishy guy,
Oh, the
the
dad.
husband that died. Yeah, the dad.
Dad.
Yeah, sorry, the dad. So speaking of that, that leads us into this
Yeah,
text, and we're gonna get
that
your
was her
comments. I
husband.
see you, Cody,
Yeah,
with a comment. Creepy
that was Bradford.
confidential. What are your thoughts on Beetlejuice? or it was Beetlejuice. There it is. Yeah.
Okay, the second
Beetlejuice.
one.
Yeah.
Everybody around me can vouch that I refused to watch it. I didn't watch anything on it when it came out. I didn't watch a clip. I was so pissed off that they were gonna mess with it because I cherished the original so much. I didn't want it to wreck my idea of it. And then it came on the TV and it was free to watch, and my hubby put it on, and I'll admit I liked it. I actually liked it.
Wow.
I was laughing. I was belly laughing at some points. And I remember Mr. Creed turned to me and he's like, I hear you laughing over there. I'm like, it's funny. Okay, it's funny. Yeah. And I knew the kid. As soon as I saw the kid in the treehouse, I knew it.
Bad news. You can't get nothing past creepy. I love that. You guys be coming in hot with the comments tonight, and I'm gonna read one of your guys' comments. But we're keeping it creepy tonight. We're doing our thing. We're having fun, and you guys are coming in hot with the comments. So shout out to basically Brittany, my PIC. She has came up with some more funny clips for us to have in the meantime. And it is Christmas time. Is it right? It's Christmas time.
Almost.
It's like 3 days. Almost.
Yeah.
So for the Christmas time, literally my all-time favorite Christmas movie, ladies and gentlemen, The Grinch.
Oh. Ah. That's it. I'm not going.
That's me when I'm going out somewhere.
Literally me
Every time
I go somewhere. I have a room. I have a closet full of clothes, but I will refuse to not go. I refuse to go. I refuse to go.
I'll pick out something and I'm like,
okay, so
this, and then no, I don't want to go.
No, okay, I'm staying home. Me and Mr. Creek tonight. It's just us. I love it. Cody says, in hindsight, I did love Catherine O'Hara and Beetlejuice, but I feel like she was playing more Maria Rose from Schitt's Creek than Delia. Thoughts on that, Creepy?
Yeah, I agree. Like, it was close. Like, I remember listening to her talk and the way she talked to Lydia, and I'm like, okay, parts of it, like, I would hear, and then she would shift. And see, I don't know the other show, so I remember, but I've only seen little clips enough to tell me what she sounds like. And I would agree. It's almost like she couldn't quite detach that other character. I think she just forgot. Yeah. I think she forgot what she...
For sure. Because I like, as an actress, she probably played so many... Yeah, like, you go on. Like, Beetlejuice happened in the 80s, and I've done a lot since then. So, like, to get back in that character. And that's kind of how... And I'm not going to blame Winona Ryder. I know Jazzy in the comments said Winona. I love that you love Winona. But at the same time, I felt like her character didn't make sense in Beetlejuice. I feel like in the original, she was more recluse. She was, gothic, emo. And then she turned right around in 360 and she has a talk show. And I'm like, and I understand she didn't want to be a part of the talk show and she kind of felt forced by her husband. She was exploited. And so, like, I just... Yeah, it happens with writing. And again, it's not Winona's fault. She fucking killed it. She killed the role. Like, I still got, straight Lydia vibes the whole time I'm watching it. It's just her backstory didn't make a lot of sense. But so you're taking us through the 80s. Like, you are like literally like freaking start off with Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters, fire, Beetlejuice, fire. What the hell is next? You guys are in the comments. I'm gonna get to your guys' comments. I swear to God. I'm going to get to your comments. Okay, we're going to get to comments.
Real quick, let's I want to put some creepy notes on this one real quick.
You got it.
Because these are movies these aren't just any movies. These are movies that have either inspired me to be the creep queen that you see here or to get involved in the things prior to the podcast. So this was another ghost one. I kind of had some paranormal ones and then we shift. So this is the same thing. You have a ghost that is refusing to leave. You have Mr. Beetlejuice. He's stuck there. And then you have the other side where you get to see it. You get to see what, the lost souls room and all the doorways and the waiting room and, the little, when she says, I wouldn't have had my little accident. It's such a peak in a comedy way where I was like, this is could be is this really what it looks like? So my brain took this like hyper stylized, colorful version of it as a kid and just ran with it. But I loved everything about this one.
I
But
love it. And no, that is 1,000% like, and again, guys, if you guys don't know who Creepy is literally a paranormal investigator. She loves all things creepy, cryptid. So this is what inspired her at a young age to get into what she does now, her passion. And she has done amazing things as far as, just she has haunted objects. Like that's how far her passion goes. Like she is willing. I don't know how Mr. Creep like is cool with this, but there is literally she has a haunted object in her room. Can you talk a little bit about that object?
yeah, so they're in the paranormal. We call them trigger objects, and they could be haunted. I've never had anything happen here in the house, but originally those little metal wheels, those are the ones that you saw. Those were from the mental hospital. Those were from the hospital, and as we walked around, if we had them with us, we would find our meters would go off more. Like all of a sudden, our EMF would spike. We would get answers back and forward, and EVPs, which is basically a ghost speaks through a recording device, and then when you be back and you listen, you can hear it. But when we put them down, because we're like, okay, we're gonna put them over here for now, it would stop. But it made sense because a trigger object is like someone who is on the other side may have worked with these. So now that we have them, they're recognizable to somebody who we can't see. So that's what they are. But I do have some other cool stuff. They have coffin nails up here now and all kinds of stuff.
So my question is with that. So when you took it out of the mental hospital, the mental asylum,
Yeah.
does it lose like its energy, or does the energy follow it?
And that was the experiment, was that, we don't have like tables flipping or anything because of it. But if I put it in front of the device that says words and things of that nature, it starts spitting out almost sentences and names. And it said Joanna's name when we were on live.
I remember that. Yeah.
And which is weird. Usually it spit out garble and you're like, okay, it's just working on something. But it's just interesting. You set them next to it, and sure enough, it starts breathing out more words and names. So,
and that's the science. That's why, again, we're going to literally have to have a whole paranormal episode where we just go through your files and just everything you have. We're going to blast through these comments real quick. Wilbur Hunter says Johnny Depp can play the baby version when he grows up. Okay, I'm all right. I love you, Wid. I love you. Cody says, shout out to Jay Bruckheimer for saying he'd welcome Johnny back to Pirates franchise with open arms if he had the choice. Okay, I'm liking it. Chuka is in the building. What's going on, Chuka? She says, hi, help him. How the hell are you? Love to see you here. Mr. Creep says Pete Davidson is Beetlejuice before he died. That is fucking...
He's actually... I could believe that. He has a potty mouth, and I don't know. I don't want to say it, but I kind of do. I think he would actually play a really interesting young Beetlejuice.
That would be, hey, like if they like...
He's got the comedy, he's got that kind of crassness. Yeah, I think he
No, I agree 1,000% because that's like, and it's like if you did, let's say if we did, they went and did like a because Pete Davidson's still young enough to where he could, if possibly you want to go back and do like a mid-age, like not mid-age, but like 21 to like 35, 36 Beetlejuice and have him like in a different kind of thing. I'd love to see that. Hey, shout out Mr. Creep, brother. I love that. Shout out. I love that. Let's see. Jim Carrey said, when 100 says Jim Carrey said he will do a sequel to The Grinch if he doesn't have to put all that makeup on.
Yeah, he'll only do it if it's CGI. I'm like, it's not the same then.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. Chuka says good taste. She says you have good taste, Creepy. She says you have good taste. Cody says at Creepy Confidential, did you watch the movie Oddity, since that deals with cursed objects?
I don't think I have. What's crazy, I've told you guys this before, is I'm actually not a good scary movie watcher. So if it was like scary, I think my brain just grasps onto what I see, and then I can't get it out. And so a lot of times I think that's why I like to read, because then my brain kind of censors what it can handle.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like there are
reading,
things that will never, like I saw House of Wax, the new one, when I was like 20 something, and there are parts of that movie that I cannot take out of my head. So
oh yeah. Great movie, freaky movie. That movie was seriously, as a kid, that freaking,
but that's a
I was
remake,
like,
you know, but the original
hey.
was scary, Vincent Price, and it was great, but that new one, no. I shouldn't have watched it.
Too much. I love
I shouldn't have watched it.
I love that. I love it. But yeah, creepy. We're going on to the next one. But before, that's why I said creepy. Hold on a second. But before we go on to the next one, guys, please do me a favor. Please do me a favor. I need you guys at the end of the stream or tonight or if you're watching the replay, I need you guys to go over to Creepy Confidential's YouTube channel. Go over to her YouTube channel, and please do not judge me. I am so backed up on my YouTube. Like so backed up. So, but please go over to Creepy Confidential's YouTube channel. She has a bunch of videos with other content creators, live streams where she brings content creators on. We actually have an episode together. I'm trying to find it. Oh, boom, right here. It was the Halloween episode. Fuck yes. And yes, I love that. I love that. I was the Halloween episode. Yes.
I love how you were there and you're shocked that it's the Halloween episode. Just real quick.
No, I totally forgot because I remember we rescheduled it like twice. But
now is she also now, because
go over to Creepy Confidential, check out
the trivia, horror movie trivia.
And spoiler alert, find out if I won. I'm gonna tell you I did. And you
Someone
find out
got
if I'm
a
lying.
cash prize. So
yeah, and I'm gonna tell you I did. And if you don't believe me, then you probably have every right not to believe me. But go watch the replay and find out for yourself, and you'll find out that I'm lying. I didn't win. But yes, go over to Creepy Confidential YouTube page. Go subscribe to her for all things creepy. I'm gonna go ahead.
Or you can go to creepyconfidential.com and it'll take you everywhere.
Yes,
merch,
and that's why I am
socials, everything.
Up the website so people can see the website where it will take you to all of her social media.
We just, as a, not to self-promote, but I just put it out and I'm really proud of it. There is a new merch design that has Applewhite from Heaven's Gate. It has his head being sucked up into a UFO. So if
we gotta see this.
Checking out our
right here. Right here, guys.
These are all original designs, so check it out.
Check this out. So yes, go check out Creepy Confidential's merch. Oh, I love that freaking 3D logo shirt. Love it. The merch, YouTube, Instagram, email, Spotify, TikTok, everywhere. Live streams, creepyconfidential.com. I love that, dude. I'm telling you, you are outdoing me right now. I don't even know why I'm even showing this. I don't have a
team. It's just me.
She's killing it. Look, team, we gotta step it up, guys. What are we doing here? They got a website. We don't got none of that, but I love it. But yes, go follow Creepy Confidential. Hell Queen Jazzy says, I love the merch. Let's see. Mr. Creep says, get to that comment. Miss Creep loves Alien series, a big Xenomorph fan. Ooh, what was your thoughts?
No.
Wait. What's happening? Is he is he setting you up right now?
Yes. So I can't do the aliens. Can't do them. I think a long time ago, I had friends that wanted to watch the whole series and we watched it. And I had nightmares for days. And now he wanted Mr. Creep because the new one came out. What was the new one?
Romulus.
Yes. So Romulus came out and he wanted to watch Romulus. But before he watched it, he wanted to watch all of the other stories back and forward so that he could have it. He had to watch it with headphones on, and I had to sit on the other side of the couch so I couldn't see the screen while I was working on my computer.
Oh my word.
I can't do it.
That is insane. I love it though.
I can't do it.
I love it. Hey, but again, you watched the original, so it's so it's like that right there back would have scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, anything like the mouth, being suffocated is probably on my list of things where it's like if something's over your mouth, you can't control it. That would no.
Speaking of over the mouth, things over the mouth, we're going from the 80s and now we're going to the 90s. And one of the most famous mouth mask ever is
Ever.
this film. Go ahead and set it up, Creepy Confidential. What movie
Yes.
is next?
So these books were by Thomas Harris, and this was the first one of those books to come out, was Silence of the Lambs. And this is what triggered that wanting to know about serial killers. The race, the getting into the mind of Hannibal and all of the knowledge, and yet very dangerous creature. And then it just the whole thing. He's so perfect. Oh my gosh, he's so perfect in that character. And I remember I couldn't watch it when I was really young because I think my parents were afraid it would, do something to me. And it did in all the right ways. I became obsessed with true crime. I either wanted to be a pathologist where you do autopsies and things like that, or I wanted some sort of detective, and obsessed with this movie.
I love that. And what's so crazy is this is why I love having you on the stream tonight, is because you are literally taking us down a rabbit hole of how
It's like
you grew
memory
up.
lane too.
Yes, yeah, like it's like, okay, as a kid, she's in the 80s. She's probably, she's not, a teenager yet. She's a young kid.
Yeah.
She's watching Ghostbusters. She's watching Beetlejuice. Fast forward to the 90s a little bit. She's getting into her teens. Now she's watching
It's
Hannibal.
ramping up.
It's just going up. It's going up. And so this is where you started to get into true crime.
Yes, and I remember watching even just the interrogation where the Jodie Foster character is trying to basically get Hannibal to agree, to whatever he needs, whatever she needs, and she has to walk down the alleyway with all those other nasty characters, and some things happen to her, and I just remember thinking how awful that is and how gross that was. And but I read the books later because I didn't know that there were the books, but I read all the other ones later. But it's what a fantastic movie. Absolutely.
So how does it stack up, the movies? Because this is such a big thing in Hollywood. Hollywood always mistreats the material. How does the movie stack up to the books?
I think they did an okay job with them. I think this is the one they did the best job with. But like there was this one, Red Dragon. Was it Hannibal? I think they called it Hannibal, or it's called Hannibal. I don't know.
Jody, we need you, brother.
Yeah, but you got a chance to. I think the books, they were more graphic.
Ooh,
movies are pretty graphic.
That's what I'm saying. Like the movie's pretty graphic for the time period, right? Like the 90s, like we're coming out of the 80s to where that practical shock value slasher, it's kind of dying.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into real life
psychological things.
Psychological horror. I'm not gonna lie, I might credit Hannibal for that. Like that, it might have been the first film of the 90s that was like, okay, we're gonna take it back to old school storytelling, Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock-esque, like real life horror. And and so can you kind of
the chasing of the bad guy, like Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And I remember reading, I almost didn't, I remembered the movie, but it had been a while. And even reading the book, you were like, when they go into the house, when she's walking around, like all the things, even then you're like, oh my God, she's in the house. Like you caught yourself getting back into it again.
Yeah, like you were panicking a little bit,
Yeah, like get out of the house.
Yeah, the anxiety. And I remember, and it's that subtlety. We was just watching and shout out Hell Queen Jazzy. She said she will be right back, guys. She's on the way to go pick up some bar stools. But we were watching the original When a Stranger Calls. And we remember we remember the anxiety we felt like the whole time at the beginning of the film, where she finally realized the call is coming from inside the house. This is 60 years later, 70 years later, whatever it might have been, right? 40, 50 years later. and I'm getting goosebumps. And I've already seen the movie, 10,
Yeah.
10, 15 times. But that's how well the storytelling was.
Yeah.
And with Hannibal, you have goosebumps on your freaking body from start to finish. Like it was amazing. It was an
And
amazing
it was
movie.
the same way with the other ones, then you had the Ed Norton character, and but there was that where Hannibal's having a dinner and he's serving them, his orchestra people, and then the Ed Norton character comes, and that was when Ed Norton has figured it out, and here comes Hannibal into the room, and you're just like, you just feel the tension, and you know what's going to happen, and then he stabs him, and you're like, like it's a different,
dead ass.
yeah.
And
It's
so
different.
Cody has a comment. He says, I got in trouble for reading The Red Dragon in grade school in class because it was inappropriate. What do you say to that, Creepy?
In grade school, I agree. That is inappropriate for grade school.
She's like, straight up, you're not going to have me on here
if you're high
putting
school,
it out there for the kids.
In high school, you can have it. Kids at that point are, having relations with each other, and they've figured out all kinds of bad things.
Whoa.
That's whatever. Yeah.
That is insane.
So,
go ahead.
But not young.
No, not that young. Not grade school. Win 100 says, put the lotion on the skin, or it gets the
or
hose.
Else it gets again. The hose again. Yes. I love how I see memes now where people have recreated their bathroom, and it has a picture of Buffalo Bill lowering lotion for people in the bathroom.
Wow.
It's fantastic.
That is insane. You might want to go get checked out.
Yeah, like you have mental problems. This is a murder movie.
You want to go see the doctor. Oh my god, that's insane. But no, Hannibal. It's a great film. It's again a nod to the original gods of horror and storytelling.
And with the volume, it's those old school kind of neutered horror movies where they're from the era of the 50s, where you can't talk about certain things. You can't, the husband and wife are still sleeping in separate beds, like that sort of thing. And then you hit this era and they just turn the volume up. Thomas Harris just turned that up. And I think, this was a big tell about how society was turning.
I cannot stand Mr. Creep. He says, put the lotion on the skin or else it gets ashy elbows again. Mr. Creep, I love you, brother. You are killing it, my guy. You know what?
That's what I have all the time.
I love it. You know what,
He's
Mr.
so
Creep?
quippy. He is so quippy.
You just earned yourself a freaking video, brother. Here you go.
It's time to go home there, ball.
Son of a bitch, Ball. Why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
That's going to be him when he learns golf.
I love it. So we talked about Beetlejuice, we talked about Ghostbusters, we talked about Hannibal. Now we're going to finish it up. And now with 100, Cody, you guys are about to go crazy. Okay. Because you guys are about to have fun. Because again, we're going into the mind of Creepy Confidential. She is a paranormal investigator. She's into all things spooky, whether it be cryptids, whether it be paranormal sightings, whether it be serial killers, whether it be cannibalism, whatever it may be, she's into it. And who are one of the most two famous serial killers in horror history?
Oh, I knew. I wasn't sure which one you were going to go with next.
What we got? Let's go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Yes. So we have to talk about the original Scream. Now, while there has been a gajillion of them at this point, I think I've only seen like 1, 2, and 5. I skipped over some of the middle ones, but the original one, I think, was the first time I probably would have been. I was a middle schooler, maybe a freshman in high school, but probably a middle schooler, and it was a repeatable movie where we would watch it multiple times, and it was something where they're in school. First of all, and they have girlfriends, boyfriends. Who is it? It was this who done it, and I think this changed again. This movie changed horror movies from this point forward. Like there's these cornerstones, and I think this one was such a big one. And most chicks had an absolute crush on Steed Ulrich. I'll just say that.
Oh, I'm a dude. I'm a dude with a wife.
And you're like,
gotta crush. Yeah, like that's the guy right there, brother. Like,
don't get me wrong, Stu. Matthew Lillard. He is a dreamboat as well, but there was something about because he was kind of the goofy one. There was that like burn in Skeet's eyes. He did a great job playing a killer. Great job.
Oh, for sure. There's what now, Creepy. Now that you opened up Pandora's box, I don't know. It's insane. It's insane. You've opened up Pandora's box.
I had a feeling. I'm like, this one's very popular, but I love it.
So
it's based on a true story.
It is, and I was gonna ask you about that. So this is a 2-part question, okay? Because at this time you would have been, and we're not aging nobody, but we're just putting in a perspective of where you were at the time. And again, this is about
like
Creepy
14,
Confidential. We're going
13,
right. You're
14?
13, and so you're about to go into high school. You're about that age where you're getting into this thing we call the cliques and all that other good stuff, and you're seeing these things in school. So what was it like to watch this film at the time, and how did you feel, like, especially since you were at this, not saying you were getting into deep into what you're into now, but the realism of horror that you were obviously into that, because by this time you've watched Hannibal, you watched all these realistic horror films. So what was your mindset watching the original Scream?
This one kind of hit different in a matter of I was not part of any clique in school. I did not have boyfriends. I was so far on the outside that I could watch part of this, and it was actually kind of foreign to me, which I know seems crazy because I'm bubbly and this, but I was like the weird kids club, or I was the third wheel where everybody else had boyfriends and were off doing whatever, and I was by myself. So but
you had that perspective though.
I did, and I remember at the end of the film, even at that time, I was like, I would have survived.
Oh, for sure. Like, you're just out here at lunch, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Book,
I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't give it up. I didn't drink. I didn't have the.
But not only that,
running up the steps.
Take that away. You were like reading books on like real life serial killers at lunch. Like, that's in like paranormal stuff. So like, if any of this bullshit was going down, you'd be like, yep, it is definitely that guy.
Yep. I'd be like, it's him. And this is the day it happened.
I love that. So
it just kind of pivoted where I wasn't, even though it was kind of it's a kind of a gory movie. I'll call it gory.
Oh for the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was surprised at how comfortable I was watching it.
Oh, for sure. Well, again, like the TikToks that you're seeing with the people with the lotion dispenser.
Yeah.
You might need to get checked out as well.
Hey, I am a papered crazy. Okay, so I've got nothing to worry about it.
That's great. She is legal documented crazy.
I have the documentation.
Follow Creepy Confidential for your local crazy cryptid lover. Okay, so with Scream 1996. You had mentioned earlier that it was loosely based off a true story or something around that. There might have been something that happened later on. Can you talk about that?
It wasn't so much where they could like say based on a true story, but it was inspired. The person who wrote it, I can never remember his name. You
Evan
probably
Williamson.
know. Yeah,
I'll report on him like every other day.
On a murderer, but it was one murderer. It wasn't two, and he had committed multiple crimes back to back. They shut the schools down and everything. So that part you can tell he kind of took directly from it. And the one he gutted his victim. And that's where, when Stu said that later, I was like, oh, that's why they included that particular line about,
Oh,
what do they say? So how do you gut somebody? Like Nev says that, and Stu
yeah.
describes it, and it's very creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is okay. Now we're talking about it, that's kind of fucked up, dude.
Yeah. Well,
But
because
at the
he's the
same time,
one, he would have been like I think it was Gainesville. Yeah. So he would have been just like that. That would have been
oh
his
wow.
character.
Wow, that is insane. So it's like, again, but that's just great storytelling, like they made
Yep.
a whole franchise over, yes, something
They-
that was tragic. But shout out to people like Creepy who give knowledge to. This is why I can't stand horror fans sometimes, because they're like, oh, this is an original idea. And it's like, no,
You're
shout
like,
out to Creepy Confidential. She's letting us know, like, hey, no, he got the idea from a real life murder, not saying
yeah.
and they're like, no, he didn't do that. And it's like, no, he did, but it's still good. It's just he
Yeah,
did.
we were just talking about, like, it's like Jeepers Creepers. People don't realize. I think we talked about that on the live. Jeepers Creepers is based loosely, the character.
Loosely.
And I just find it crazy that the guy actually looks like the creeper. So,
Insane. And that part was insane.
but with, creeper has like blue skin, but if you were to take that skin off, it looks just
That's
like
that guy. It's him. It's him.
with the weird face. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
another one,
yeah.
and that one's so fantastical. People are like, "Oh no, that was just a draft out of someone's, mind." And you're like, "No, actually, it's not."
They had help. Cody says, I read about a case where two teens saw Scream and basically reenacted the opening on their girlfriend, tormented her from inside and outside the house, then stabbed her.
I haven't read about the case, but I would not be surprised.
I never get to correct anybody. Yeah, so I don't want to correct anybody, Cody, because everyone's always correcting me. But the one time I get to do it, I'm gonna do it. So I know what you're talking about. And yes, there was this girl. Her name was actually, what was the opening girl's name in Scream? Drew Barrymore's character. Fuck.
Oh
my God. I'm like having the biggest brain
but
fart.
we know
right
who
now.
you're talking about.
Okay, whatever her name was, Jesus Christ, they're not gonna let me live this down. But that girl, there was a girl.
Kind of your wheelhouse.
Yeah. I'm showing how amateur I am. But there was this girl at this high school, and she had the same name of the opening girl from Scream 1996, Drew Barrymore's character. And there was these two guys, and one of the guys liked the girl, but like the girl was like not going for the guy. And so he would like secretly record her at school. And then one day, I think they followed her home, and they basically reenacted Scream, the movie 1996 verbatim. Like they, gutted her like a fish. They recorded some of it. It was insane. And they literally said when they got busted and they were interrogated, they said that they took inspiration from Wes Craven's Scream 1996. So yeah, again, real life meets horror sometimes, and it's fucked up, dude.
It is. It's way. I think that's, people are like, oh, this movie, they're scary. True life is not. Like, no, true life is way scarier. Humans are
for sure
awful
yeah.
creature.
Casey Becker. Yes, thank you, Cody. Don't hold that against me. I know you will. You're going to hold that against me.
We're doing a lot of facts and things. Real
Yeah.
quick, I'm going to use some verbiage that I don't use all too often. Oh, that's past it already. All I know
Okay,
is,
I'll go back.
as they say, shout out to that garage door, because the fact that it could lift somebody in the air, Tatum, people are going to want that garage door.
Oh, for sure. That scene, like, shout out Tatum. That's not happening. Like,
it's not happening, especially not with your big old butt. It is not taking it up in the air like that. I was like,
yeah, shout out. Look,
is garbage. It's the only thing in the whole movie that I'm like, that's not factual.
That's not right. Right. No, Creepy's like, that one's not sliding over here, bro. Like that right there. Insane. Like, no, that thing's falling down. So, but again, movie magic, right? We got to go with that movie magic. So we've literally went from the 80s to the 90s, and you guys might think where we're going. You have no idea where we're going. Okay. No idea. Because chronologically, you would think we're going to the 2000s, but no, your Hellmaster fucked up. Okay. I didn't do that. I'm always doing things the way I'm not supposed to do it. But we're going to finish off this. Oh, hold on. Before we go, hold on. With 100, he wants to say something. He has to say it. I'm sorry. A lot of people don't know, but most of the OG slashers are based off of true stories. Thoughts on that, Creepy Confidential?
It's difficult because you get one like Freddy, right? There's not some mythical creature that's coming from the dreams and killing people in real life. Could you get some sort of psychiatric patient that is killing people with a handful of knives? Absolutely. So
Yeah.
that's sneaking in when they're sleeping. It's so hard to track who is what nowadays just because there's so much inspiration that's taken from multiple things. Like even Chucky. I see you have Chucky on the screen. That's straight up Robert the Doll. That's why Chucky was made.
Yes.
Yeah. So so they take it from everywhere. It's so hard to like skim through what is actually like this one's say them like Scream. This dude did XYZ. Well, this dude did XYZ and it's really close. But you can be inspired to write a slasher movie based on any awful crime.
Yeah. And it's you go throughout history, the town that dreaded sundown, the town that dreaded sunrise or something like that was based off of a true story of a massacre of a guy that was killing people in Texas. Michael Myers was just inspired by the 70s of, like the Night Stalker and all these people that were going around killing people. So it's like reality makes the movies that we see.
And I think it's more based on that, like you get the Night Stalker or the Zodiac. It was the constant fear of who is next. Could it be me? Could it be the person across the street? Could it be my husband? Could it be my kid? It was the constant fear of, because there was such a high concentration of serial killers and like nasty crimes. I mean, there is now, but it was different.
It was different back then.
I think that's what I think those movies really grab onto, like a Michael Myers or a Freddy. In that it's, you never know. He could just show up and you're toast.
You're done. Speaking of, Cody says the Idaho college murders is a terrifying real life murder case that just happened recently. I hope they fry his ass. Sorry, I said Ohio, but it was Idaho. That is crazy that you did that, Cody, because Ohio's sitting there like, what the fuck did we do?
I'm
like,
in Ohio. I was like, I live in Ohio. I've never heard of this.
Wait a minute, there's a serial killer on the loose, bro?
Like, well, you have to start carrying my little friend around with me.
I love that. Selena Chan Chi says, kitchen thriller, any recommendation? I don't know what kitchen thriller would be. If you can kind of explain what you're looking for, I might help.
You're afraid of chopping vegetables? Like,
I don't know about what kitchen thriller. Are we talking about like some thrillers that happen in the kitchen? I don't know, because that's very specific, but let me know.
It's very specific.
I seen a comment. Okay, two comments that go hand in hand. Mr. Creep says Nightmare on Elm Street was taken from real life events. And then with 100 says in Japan, I think some kid was afraid of going to sleep because the guy would get him and he ended up dying in his sleep. Yes. So the story goes, Wes Craven read a newspaper article about this kid in Japan who was, drinking coffee to stay awake. And his parents were like, why are you staying awake? And he's like, there's this guy in my sleep who's trying to kill me. And then the guy ended up dying from it wasn't
sleep
anything
deprivation.
like sleep deprivation, or you're drinking too much coffee and stuff like that will kill you. But so Wes Craven,
sleep deprivation does that. So
and you go crazy. And Wes Craven, so he's seen that and then created what we now know as Freddy Krueger. God, the comments are insane right now.
I'm looking down. I'm like, oh my gosh, where are all these comments coming from?
Okay. The kitchen thriller that they were talking about, the menu, House of Soils, what you wish for. So I don't really know any kitchen. Like, I would guess.
The menu was actually pretty good.
What are your thoughts on the menu?
I think it was because it wasn't like a, like a Freddy where you're like the whole time. It's, well, at least the first
It's very
Freddy.
story
Um,
driven.
it's very story driven, and it was all about like you have to pay attention and the thrill of what's happening, and it was kind of more like a Psych Out. But then
Yeah.
you get to the end and you're like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah. Fuck. Where's the sequel?
Yeah. You're like, so is she dead? You
I
that's
love that. I
but
love
I
it.
I enjoy movies like that though, where you're like kind of left hanging.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm a big believer. Not everything needs a sequel. So
Mhm.
speaking of, it's a sequel, right? It's a sequel, and it's not a sequel. It's kind of it's its own thing. Sorry, I'm everywhere right now when it comes to movies.
Oh, are we
Yes,
talking
when
about, you're
movies in my
talking
head.
about the next
We're-
one?
The next one. Go ahead, present
Yeah.
it for us. So we're not going to the 2000s, guys, or is it in the 2000s? I can't remember.
No. This is
This is
90s. Yeah.
90s. Okay, so we're staying in the 90s. Ha! Told you guys you would not know where we're going. You thought we were either going to go to the future or the past. No, we're staying where we're at. We're in the 90s. What is the next movie?
Yeah.
Creepy Confidential.
So this one has one of the most redone over and over and over again mystical creatures, people. And I love that there are so many different versions, but I think that the Francis Ford Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula is by far probably my favorite horror movie to watch, because I think vampire movies are horror
Wow.
movies. I mean, the costuming, the fact that he comes, like Gary Oldman comes. So Bela Lugosi, their OG Dracula, in his original movie, he comes down the steps and you can hear the wolves, and he's like, "Listen to the children of the night," and then he's like, "What music they make." And they took the exact words, and when Gary Oldman took those words, I was like, sign me. I was like, the fact that they straight up was like, we're not just throwing away what has been done with vampire movies, specifically Count Dracula, but we're gonna really knock your socks off. And they did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the imagery, when he turns into rats and then he's in boxes and then he's over the sea and then he's young and then he's old. It was just like, what is going on?
It was. So I'll admit, I didn't watch this until a couple years ago, but I had seen Bela Lugosi's first, and then I'm watching this
Which
one.
is good. I'm glad you
What?
saw
Yeah.
that.
Shout out Denise, because Denise
Yeah.
is like that. She's my retro horror girl. She loves all things Bela Lugosi. She sent me a Bela Lugosi shirt and a book. Love her to death.
Nice.
And so she was like, "Dave, you gotta watch Bela Lugosi's Dracula." I was like, "Got you." Watched it. Masterpiece, right?
Yeah.
Then she's like, "Okay, now you gotta watch
Dracula.
this one." And
Yeah.
I was like, "All right, I'll watch it." This one is basically, it's everything that Bela Lugosi's could have been if it were to set out to be that. Bela
Right.
Lugosi's didn't set out to be this.
It's
One,
two different tales. But
two
it's not.
different tales, but it's just as good as the
Mhm.
original. If not in some ways better, because of the imagery. I
Yeah.
love, and again, we're talking
Just
about the 90s,
stunning.
baby. This is insane. What they
Practical.
did was insane.
All practical. Yeah. I believe the costumes were done by, I think, a Japanese. Ooh, I think she's Japanese. And all of this, she built these sketched them out and built them, and just it's immaculate in that aspect, because I enjoy a good costuming. But I would say between Bela Lugosi and this, seeing this as a younger kid, I became obsessed with vampires. Like
Yes.
I wanted to, every Halloween, I wanted to be a vampire. This Halloween, I was a vampire. And it's like although I will say this last one was probably one of my better vampires. But I enjoy
Killed it.
how this one really talked about the history of Count Dracul that was over, like he truly, Vladimir, he's real. He would put people on, impale them, and he is actually a hero. That gentleman is a hero. And I think I don't think they like that it's tied to vampires, because they cherish him so much. He kind of saved their country. But that they tied it together, and he was a warrior and a gentleman, and he lost his wife, and he was lied to, and the cat, the I believe they were Roman Catholic, but that's not that important. But it
Right.
was just, whew.
And I know Jackie's pissed right now because like she was here for Beetlejuice and with the Winona Ryder talk. But again, Winona Ryder's performance in the 90s was insane. And like seeing
Mhm.
her in this, totally different. Like this
Yeah.
this was a role, and again, I forget the names. Again, I watch a lot of movies, but
Yeah,
Winona Ryder's
Mina
character,
and Lucy are the two chicks. Yeah,
yes, I don't know which one's which, but Winona Ryder's character,
Mina.
Nina, she was absolutely amazing. Like that's what I do love about this one is that the love story, like what Bela Lugosi
Yeah,
did in his future films after the original. You kind of touched on some of the romance in that,
but
but
not like this.
not to this level to where it's
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm invested. I get it. I understand what like I feel for this guy.
yeah.
Like and it was insane.
And I loved the Van Helsing. The is he called Van Helsing in this one? But he's played by Anthony Hopkins, and he's like the way he talks, and he's like where he's talking about how this Nosferatu, he is the undead, and it's just that he is committed. He has his books and how he's going to solve it. I'm like, that's actually one of the best crazy-minded versions that I could
Yep.
imagine of what he would have been like if he was a
Yeah.
real character, or
Yeah.
the scientist, the one of the quarters of Lucy. He's a scientist. He's the one who's giving them the transfusion in the movie. And it's again true to life. Like he's a junkie. He's like on laudanum or something like that.
Yeah.
Like this whole is perfect time, everything, but the vampire part of it. And then his concubine, the vampire, Dracula's concubine.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been some years since I
So
watched
creepy.
it, but I do remember another thing that stood out to me, and you touched on it earlier, the practical effects. Like we've
Yeah.
seen it. If you guys have been watching the screen behind us, you've seen some of the practical effects in here as far as the vampire transformations, and it's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. Look,
Insane.
Creepy, now that we've had you on the stream, again, we are now in the mind of Creepy Confidential. Like she is a lover of practical effects. She is a lover of good storytelling. She is a lover of paranormal and true crime. Like, and with these 5 films, we get it. We understand it. Now we see
You're
why
like,
you are in the comments saying what you say. Like, because you're not here for all these remakes and all these sequels. You're like, no, the originals, staples of horror, the Hannibals, the Bronze Dracula, the Beetlejuice, the all of these are what I grew up with. So when you see these other pieces of work, that it's like, no, there's no,
Yeah.
no. We're not doing this. Like, don't even. You know what I'm saying? That's what you are, and I love that about you.
But these are something on a side note. I know I have to do my ghost stuff. I would love to go back and kind of chronologically figure out when the first story of the vampire started to now, and
Yeah,
in all the movies and the books and
books. That's what
everything,
I'm
all the
saying.
different versions.
Like, if you that's what's so interesting about vampires, and we do have a question for you real quick, and we'll talk about more about vampires. Let's see. Cody says Demeter was okay, the mood was great, Dracula looked good, but the pacing was bad. Have you seen that one?
The meter?
It's Demeter. It was one that came out like 2 or 3 years
Oh, I
ago.
see it. No, I've
Or
never
last
even
year.
heard of it. But I live in a
Okay.
bubble, so
Oh no, you're fine. See, Mr. Crew says I need to watch Demeter as well.
well, so we'll probably be watching it.
I've seen clips of it. I haven't seen it. Cody says it's still wild that Nosferatu was only made as a redone Dracula just because they couldn't get the rights to it. Oh wow, I didn't know that. So that's why we're getting Nosferatu. Okay. Celine Chan says Vampire Transformation. How about Underworld 2? Did you like that? Have you seen Underworld 2?
Yeah, I saw the first one and the second one.
Did you like the vampires in it?
Yes, I liked, and I love Celine's. She had her pair of automatic H&Ks. talk about that. But regardless, the gun. I'm a gun girl, but I also the transformation. I thought it was Michael that transforms, not
Hey,
Marcus.
don't quote me.
Yeah,
Hey, I don't know.
So in the ground, there's the three, and they constantly kind of skip through time. Michael is the boyfriend, the one where it becomes the abomination because he's half and half.
The hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, the hybrid. That transformation reminded me of was it Werewolf in London? That transformation, even though that was old school, I liked how you saw the bones cracking and the moving and everything, and it was like, okay, that's how I imagine when they transform that it would be that painful. Maybe not vampires because they just kind of have teeth and then they don't have teeth, but where he was a hybrid, so he had to go through kind of the werewolf bone structure change out. You know, this it was
those underworlds, those
painful.
transformations were fucking painful, dude. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. My bad, Cody. He says the original Nosferatu. My bad, but you know what, Cody? You've been killing it all night tonight.
he's in the comments.
He's in the comments going crazy. I know he's already subscribed to Creepy Confidential. So because he has subscribed to Creepy Confidential, I don't even know what this scene is. But brother, I love you. And you are my stepbrother from another mother. So let's go ahead and let's play this scene for Cody.
You like guacamole? Oh! Oh God! Run in! Dad, Nancy, it's bad. It's so bad. There's blood everywhere. The bunk beds were a terrible idea. Why did you let us do that?
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen Cody. That forever. It's so funny.
I'm sorry I gave you the bottom bunk, Cody. I gained some weight over the holidays.
I'm belly laughing.
You know we got to mix it up in the Hell Zone. And you guys comment. You guys have been going crazy all night. You guys have showed out tonight. And so we have, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've had so much fun tonight. It's an hour 22 in. We only scratched the surface with Creepy Confidential, ladies and gentlemen, Hellcats and Hounds. This is just the surface. We have so much planned for her coming on the page. So before we get out of here, Creepy Confidential, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.
Please tell the people who the hell you are, what the fuck you got going on, and where can the people find you?
Absolutely. So if you're catching the end of this live stream, my name's Noelle. I am the weirdo Wisconsinite of Creepy Confidential. And my podcast you can find on all audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google, you name it. You can go to www.creepyconfidential.com and that will take you everywhere. You want to stalk us on socials? Fantastic. You want to buy some merch? That's awesome. All the designs are in there. Original designs. You got a little bit of everything. You got some aliens. You got some cults. Absolutely. And we absolutely would love it if you would come over to our Instagram. That's probably our most, I keep saying our, but it's me, the most kind of frequent updated item. And then coming up for the creeps that are going to be watching us, we do have our first live stream coming up on January 17th, where we have our first guest, an author. So you guys can come over to the YouTube and it will show you that already so that you can hit notify me. And we'd love to have you.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Cats and Hounds, we have reached the end of the stream. And 2025 is going to be a big year for Creepy Confidential. She has plenty of guests, plenty of stories. It's going to be a great year. She will be in the Hell Zone as well. And she will be at GhoulieCon 2025. Come and see her. Come hang out with her. It's going to be a great time. Ladies and gentlemen, Hellcats Sounds. It has been amazing for tonight's Hell Zone Hangout featuring Creepy Confidential. Ladies and gentlemen, just know we love you. I'm your Hellmaster Dede. That's Creep. We got to get out of here. Love you guys. Peace. Give me the
Splash into the snow, turning white to red.